Human history is shaped by decisive turning points. Among them, World War II stands as one of the most significant events of the 20th century. The war ended with the defeat of the Axis powers, paving the way for the formation of a new international order and the development of values such as human rights and democracy. However, had key moments in the war gone differently, could Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany have emerged victorious? The following is a historically logical alternate history scenario one that paints a grim and terrifying picture. 1. Key turning points that could have led to a Nazi victory. For Germany to win the war, a series of strategic changes would have been necessary. First, Hitler should not have launched an invasion of the Soviet Union so early. Instead of opening the Eastern Front in 1941, he could have concentrated all efforts on defeating Britain. If the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact had remained intact, Stalin may have stayed neutral for a few more years, allowing Germany to focus its naval and air forces on blockading and forcing Britain into surrender. Next, had the German Luftwaffe won the Battle of Britain, the planned Operation Sea Lion could have been successfully launched, leading to the occupation of the British Isles. This would have removed one of the United States' most important allies and potentially delayed or even prevented American intervention in Europe. Another critical factor was Japan's role. If Japan had attacked the Soviet Union from the east rather than bombing Pearl Harbor, the USSR could have collapsed under the pressure of a two-front war. Additionally, without a direct attack, the US would have had no compelling reason to enter the conflict early, slowing down or halting Allied aid. Furthermore, had German forces captured Moscow or Leningrad before the harsh winter of 1941, the Soviet Union might have crumbled. Gaining control of the oil-rich Caucasus region would have provided Germany with vast resources, potentially knocking the USSR out of the war. Finally, had Germany developed the atomic bomb before the United States by retaining top scientists, including many Jewish and anti-Nazi intellectuals, it could have used nuclear weapons to force the USSR or the US into peace negotiations. At that point, the global balance of power might have shifted entirely. 2. A world under Nazi control. If such a scenario had unfolded, the post-war world would be dark and totalitarian. First, Nazi Germany would dominate all of Europe. Hitler's plan to turn Eastern Europe, especially Russia, Poland, and Ukraine into Lebensraum for Germans could have resulted in mass genocide, enslavement, or expulsion of Slavic peoples. The Holocaust would not have ended, but rather continued to completion. Millions more Jews, along with Romani people, homosexuals, people with disabilities, and other minorities, could have been exterminated. Without the Nuremberg trials, there would be no reckoning for Nazi crimes, and fascist racial ideologies might have become mainstream doctrine. In terms of global power, the Soviet Union would likely have been destroyed. Stalin could have been killed or overthrown, and the entire region occupied by Germany. The US, if uninvolved, might have reverted to isolationism, becoming a detached power in the Western Hemisphere. If Germany had developed long-range missiles or nuclear weapons, America could have faced serious threats or even been forced into a peace treaty. The world might have lacked institutions like the United Nations, NATO, or the European Union. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights might never have been drafted. Core values such as democracy, human rights, and racial equality could have been erased, replaced by a fascist-led global order. 3. Distorted science, culture, and thought. Though Nazi Germany had strong scientific foundations, technological advancement would have been redirected toward warfare and racial ideology. Important innovations in rocketry, aviation, and medicine might still have occurred, but under authoritarian control and without the intellectual diversity that drives real progress. The absence of Jewish scientists like Einstein, who fled or perished under Nazi rule, could have significantly delayed many scientific fields. Meanwhile, culture and philosophy would have suffered under rigid censorship. Art that didn't serve propaganda purposes would be banned or destroyed. Liberal, democratic, and anti-war ideas would be outlawed and violently suppressed. Final outcome of this hypothetical scenario might be a world in which Hitler won World War II would likely be a global totalitarian regime, where oppression, genocide, and racial supremacy were institutionalized. The modern values of human dignity and freedom might never have had a chance to flourish. Thankfully, history took a different path thanks to the sacrifice and resistance of millions worldwide. It is this alternative course that allowed humanity to move toward a more just, humane, and democratic future. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next video.